It's so fast paced, like you physically can't put it down and you will want to read it in one sitting. Hey guys, welcome back to Francesca's Books. My name is of course Francesca and these are my books, and today I have literally got one of the most exciting videos ever because I'm going to tell you my top fast-paced, unputdownable and binge-worthy thriller books. This video has been so highly requested for like some of my easiest books to read, and I gotta deliver. If any of these books take you longer than 48 hours to read, like come back to me and tell me why, because I just could not comprehend a world where these would take you longer than 2 days to read. I'm gonna try and get through these like kind of quick fire style. There's only 6 books, but I could honestly just talk about them all day, so I'm gonna try my best. If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. I am also over on Instagram, TikTok and Goodreads as well, where I post like a little bit more daily than here on YouTube, so if you're interested, don't forget to give me a follow. So without further ado, the first book on the list is Never Lie by Freida McFadden, and this is literally one of the most unputdownable books I've ever read. I wrote it in 24 hours. It's so fast paced, like you physically can't put it down and you will want to read it in one sitting. It's also super short as well. It's not even 300 pages, so it's just a winner in this category for me. So it follows a couple who are going to view like a potential house of their dreams. They haven't bought it yet, but they're just viewing it. Then when they get there, they get trapped because of a snowstorm. So like the estate agent can't even get to them either, and they kind of just like, well, we may as well make the most of it. Like we could buy this house, so let's see if we like it. And then all sorts of weird shit starts happening. Like paintings on the wall start to move. They find like random bits of like long life food around the house. They're just so confused and everything's really eerie. They're just like, they're not in a good place, guys, to be honest. But because of its pace, you can get through this one so easily. There is literally so much more to it than that. So if you want a book that you're gonna not be able to put down for the next 2 days, check out Never Lie. Next up is The Last Passenger by Will Dean, and this is on this list purely because of its uniqueness. I have never read a book like this before in like 200-300 books that I've read. I picked this book up with like not a lot of expectation, and I didn't really know where it was gonna go. It was just one that like a few thriller book lovers as well had recommended to me, and I just thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And then I opened it, still wasn't even sure after about 50 pages, and then bam, I was like, jaw on the floor. So this follows our main character Kaz. She goes on this cruise ship, she leaves Ireland and she's going like to New York. It's like supposed to be like a 4 or 5 day trip. She has a lovely night on board with her partner, and then she wakes up the next day and he's not in bed, and she goes to like investigate, and it turns out she is completely alone on this cruise ship. This book threw my head in an absolute spin. Like whatever you think is the reason Kaz is on this cruise ship, I can guarantee that you're not correct. And then when you find out why, like it just keeps getting worse for her. Like I can't even put into words how crazy this is. So if you want a book that can throw your head in an absolute spin, definitely pick up this one. I am a huge Claire Mackintosh fan, especially some of her earlier work, and I See You is definitely no exception to that. I couldn't stop reading this one because of how many suspicious characters there were in it. Like I was just questioning every single person. Everyone had something super sus about them. It was brilliant. So this follows a woman who sees an advert for herself in the back of a newspaper. She's like on the way to work one day and just picks up the newspaper like on the tube in London, and then she's like, sorry? She tries to like dig around like as you would. She's like, why am I in this newspaper in like an advert section? And it turns out that some of the other people that have been featured there as well are connected to like a series of crimes. So she goes investigating on her own. There's also another point of view of like the detectives are actually on this case, like and adjacent cases, like trying to work out exactly what's happening. But the detectives in this are written so well. This is literally one of my highlight of Claire Mackintosh being an author, is that she writes detectives with an actual backstory and you are super invested in them as well as like the main story. So don't just hear the word detective there and let it put you off. If you want to be suspicious of literally everyone, check out I See You. I don't know why I keep doing that. I don't know why I'm feeling really giddy. No more throwing books, no more throwing books. Next up is The Institution by Helen Field, and this was so unputdownable that I started listening to it on audio and actually bought the paperback version because my expectations weren't that high. I just put it on in the car and I was like, oh my god, so I bought the paperback and read it physically instead. So this follows a forensic profiler. She's not a detective, she's someone who works with like the FBI and the police to try and understand like what kind of person the criminal would be. So she goes into this locked institution, surprise, surprise, she's trying to find a missing baby. So she's kind of interviewing our suspects one by one. There's only 6 prisoners, so you're thinking it's quite a small character pool that it actually could be. Then the staff start acting dodgy, so she's like, now there's just a load of people that it could be. This book was really gripping as well because it gives you like this illustration of the prison at the start of the book, and I just love it when books do this because you can actually like picture it the same as how the author had pictured it. That just really worked for me. If you want a locker room thriller book that could actually happen, check out The Institution. Next up is one of my absolute favourite authors. It's a book by John Mars called What Lies Between Us. This has so many well-timed twists, like you physically won't be able to put it down because every 50 pages or so, a new fresh curveball is thrown in and you're like, Great, now I have no idea again. This story follows a woman who has her elderly mum chained up in the attic of their house and it's told from both of their points of view. This is one of those stories where you just don't think it can get much worse for the characters. And then it does. This literally had one of the most shocking and satisfying endings as well. I just love it when a book wraps up and you're actually just like happy with the ending. My mum also read this and was mortified with the ending, but I loved it. If you know, you know. If you want a book where you're just not sure how much worse it can get, check out What Lies Between Us. And finally, One by One by Freida McFadden is the ultimate binge fest. This is literally 250 pages and is still one of the best stories that I've read. It's one of those books that was just an absolute slump breaker. It's one of the only things that I've actually picked up, sat and read cover to cover and just been like, yeah, like, I really rate it. So the concept is pretty basic, but hear me out. It's about 6 friends who go on a little road trip in a minivan and it breaks down and they start going missing one by one while they're trying to like get back to safety. So it is kind of a locked room thriller because you've got all the like suspects of like all this dodginess like within one pot. Like it could obviously be like partners, children, everyone else out the picture, but it is quite like a limited character pool. If you need a book that's just immediately gonna get you out of a reading slump, you're immediately gonna be hooked from page 1, and then definitely check out One by One. So these are my top picks for bingeability. Let me know if there's any other books that I've missed off this list or ones that you would recommend because I would love to see more. Don't forget to like and subscribe and I can't wait to see you next time.